Listen to my voice with the phone. I will repeat the lesson of the previous week, and I will give a sample question before the exam. So don't worry. I will give sample question before the exam. I read your message. I will give you a sample question before the final exam. Don't worry. Okay? Next week I will give you a sample question, and in final class give a sample question, and you read only this question. Division zygomycotina. Include the fungi that don't have a motile state or a zoospore during any stage of their life cycle. And the perfect stage spores are present in the form of thick wall resting spore called zygospore. Zygomycotina have two classes, zygomycete and trichomycete. You can see the zygospore in this picture. In zygomycotina in perfect state, one spore with wall and warty on this that called zygospore. The zygospore can survive in unfavorable conditions. Under the Mycotina, zygomycete include mainly subgroup members. These members can exist on dead material. In parasitic member of zygomycete, the mycelium is emerging in tissue. One of the genus of Zygomycotina is Rhizopus, the genus Rhizopus. These fungi cause rot of stone fruit, and you can see on the bread. The members of Trichomycete remain attached to the cuticle or digestive tract of arthropods or gut of earthworms, and their mycelium is not emerging in the host tissue. Entomophyta is one of the genus of Trichomycete classes. Mycelium builds a body of fly brachiophore that extends off a segment of abdomen. General characteristics of zygomycete. The majority of the members are subgroup and some occur on dying, showing coprophylus nature, and members attack other fungi. A few zygomycete are weak parasites attacking plants and animals. Most zygomates produce a well-developed and branched mycelium. Branched mycelium consisting of gray or white Cenocytic hypha without septum. In zygomycete, the hypha are cenocytic without septum. A few members contain a highly reduced mycelium and septum at definite intervals. Cells contain all typical cellular organelles, including mitochondria, nuclei, ribosome, lipid granules, and endoplasmic reticulum. The cell wall is mainly composed of chitosan and chitin. Centrioles are absent in this function. Motile cells or zoospores are absent. Asexual reproduction takes place by non-motile sporangiophores called aplanospore. Non-motile sporangiospores aplanospore. The aplanospore haven't zoospore. They produce in very large number within the sporangia. These fungi produce sporangiophore, sporangiospore. The sporangiospore produce a very large number of planus. The spore without flash. Zoospore or flagellum. Sexual reproduction. The long hairs under the scalp are the that make up the mycelium. The mycelium can form a sporangia or a sporium containing the sexually produced spores that called a spore. The special hypha bearing the sporangia are called sporangiophore. This is sporangiophore, and this sporangium that a very large number of planospore produce in sporangium. Some reproduce by chlamydus and a few by oidia. Many zygomycete reproduce by modified sporangia unit functioning as conidia or by true conidia. Mr. Muhammad Ali, I will give you a sample question before final exam. In Mucorales, appendage sporangiospore are also formed sporangiophore and appendage sporangiophore develop in sporangia, merosporangia and sporangiola, or also as one paired sporangia or conidia in Mucorales. Sexual reproduction takes place by gametangial fusion. Two fusion gametangia may arise from the same mycelium or from different mycelia. Gametangial fusion results in the production of a thick wall resting spore called zygospore. Zygospore develops within a zygosporangium. Zygospore remains surrounded by a very thick wall, which is highly resistant to unfavorable factors. The time of germination of zygospore, a hypha emerges and bears a terminal sporangium. It's believed that the meiosis occurs during germination. This is a thick wall, a spore that called zygospore. This is a resting spore. Zygospore forms inside zygosporangium. Zygospore develop thick wall, warty appearance, dark in color. Karyogamy occurs at different times in zygospore formation in different species, so zygospore is diploid at some point. There are gametangium, male and female gametangium, that fuse and form a dark, warty, thick wall spores. Can survive in unfavorable conditions. Do you see this slide? I can't see it. Hypha of mating type, male and female. This hypha mating type produce gametangia. The gametangia are complete. Two gametangia fuse and produce a zygote. The zygote is diploid, and then the zygospore was formed after the fuse of gametangia. This zygospore germinate and use a sporangium, and the sporangium produce a very large number of aplanospore or non-motile spore. Two mating strain, male and female. After contact, produce gametangia, male and female. After fuse, these two gametangia produce zygospore, and zygospore germinate and produce mycelium and sporangium. Don't need to and memorize pink slide. Yes, this is the life cycle of zygomycotina. The classification of zygomycete is not been studied yet. However, the majority of the workers divide zygomycete into three orders: Mucorales, Entomopterales, and Zoopagales. Hesselin and Ellis in 1973 also maintained that possibly a four-order Entomopterales should also recognize that Benjamin divided the zygomycete into following order. Aristopoulos and Mint have also followed the same classification, except in the order Harpyles. Mucorales, Margaritales, Kixelales, Endogonales, Entomopterales, Zoopagales, and Harpyles. Webster maintained that zygomycete comprise only two orders, Mucorales and Entomopterales. Mr. Ali Hamid, at the end of the class, I will give you about 30 questions and I will take only the exam. Please don't worry. Listen to the lecture, please. Order Mucorales divided into the following families: Mucoraceae, Phylogulaceae, that there are Coprophylus, Kixelaceae, Endogonaceae, Thomnidiaceae, Mortierelaceae, Choanophoraceae, Validaceae, and Coningomelaceae. میصدنا Family Mucuraceae. Mucuraceae is the largest family of the order, containing 20 genera. Its common genera is Mucur, Rhizopus, Obsidia, Ficomyces, and Circadian. Rhizopus is one of the major genus in Mucuraceae. Esselstyn and Ellis recognize at least 120 species and varieties of this. Rhizopus stolonifer is most common and considered as a type species representing the genus. Some detail: large Rhizopus stolonifer given here. Rhizopus stolonifer caused on strawberry on peach. Occurrence. Rhizopus stolonifer occur very frequently on bread and is therefore commonly called bread mold. It is so frequent and contaminant of laboratory culture of bacteria and fungi that is considered as rid of laboratory. Rhizopus occur worldwide in soil, decaying fruit, dung, and vegetation. Rhizopus behaves parasitically, causing rot of sweet potato or fruit rot of apple, strawberry, and tomato. Some Rhizopus species cause mycosis in domestic animals, and a few reported from human lessons. Almost all Rhizopus species occur saprophytically. They are not parasites. Laboratory culture and vegetative research. Since almost all Rhizopus species are saprophytes, the fungus can grow on dead organic material, such as bread, butter, and other dead organic material, by keeping them in a dark and damp atmosphere. By first exposing a moistened piece of bread in a petri dish for about 24 hours at room temperature, and then covering it for a few days. Rhizopus appears in the form of the tuft of mycelium. Mycelium of Rhizopus stolonifer consists of many well-branched, white, tubular or filamentous hyphae, which are multinucleate and without cross walls. The hypha was cenocytic. Cenocytic hypha of Rhizopus shown in this picture. These hyphae are multinucleate without cross walls. A slide that should with a delay for me. All hypha are more or less alike and provide a cottony appearance when young, but later on the mycelium soon enters the reproductive form and becomes differentiated into three different types of hypha. Rhizoid, that look like the root of plants, stolons, look like a stem, and sporangiophore. three different types of hypha in Rhizopus. Do you see the slide? Do you see? Okay. Rhizoids are the repeatedly branched hypha that penetrate the substrate. From each node of the stolon, they rise in the form of the cluster toward lower side. They absorb and nutrient from the substrate. Rhizoids, sometimes called stolon, are the hypha that grow horizontally above the substrate for some distance and then bend down into the substrate. The part bending down function as a node and form a tuft or rhizoid. The hypha of the stolon are therefore aerial and unbranched. Angiophores are the erect, aerial, unbranched, and negatively geotrophic hypha, which ground upward in a top at the point where stolon form rhizoid. They are reproductive in function. Each sporangiophore bears a terminal sporangium. Certain enzymes secreted by the rhizoid alpha. These enzymes convert starch into soluble carbohydrates and readily absorbed by the fungus. Utilization of some inorganic and organic nitrogenous compounds also help rhizopus in synthesizing some proteins. In this picture, you see rhizoid. Rhizoid absorb water and nutrition. Stolon, sporangium, and sporangiospore or aplanospore. The rhizopus form three different hypha. Three different hypha. Rhizoid, stolon, and sporangiophore. Three types mycelia. Rhizoid, stolon, young sporangium, mature sporangium, and spores. Reproduction in rhizopus. Asexual reproduction. It takes place generally by the formation of sporangiospore and rarely by chlamydospores. Sporangium and sporangiophores. These are unicellular, multinucleate, and non-multispore spores produce on black bodies called sporangia. Dark sporangia. Because of their non-motile nature, they are also called aplanospores. The sporangium develops singly and terminally on the sporangiophore. The sporangiophores are erect, phototrophic structure which develop in tufts on the mycelium. At a stage when a number of such pinhead-like black-colored sporangia are present, entire mycelium appears blackish and hence a popular name, black mold given to the fungus. In slide 2, black bread mold. This is a rhizopus on sporangiophore and black sporangia on bread. Development of sporangium starts by the swelling the type of the sporangium into a knob-like vesicle. The cytoplasm, lined with many nuclei from the sporangiophore, flow into the swollen vesicle. Increase the size of the vesicle. The swollen portion represent the young sporangium. The protoplasmic content of the young sporangium. Okay, I refresh it. Is the sound got better? The protoplasmic content of the young sporangium soon becomes differential into two zones. Outer peripheral multinucleate dense region and the central less dense region with comparatively fewer nuclei. A layer of vacuoles separates two portions. Fusion and flattening of these vacuoles result in the formation of cleft between the two zones. The wall secreted in this region of cleft. Its wall thus finally differentiates outer sporangiophore zone and central columella in the young sporangium. The columella therefore remain in continuity with that of the propolis of sporangiophore. Cleavage in the peripheral sporangiophorous zone results in the formation of many multinucleate segments. These segments secrete wall around each of them and metamorph into unicellular globus or oval. Multinucleate non-motile sporangiophores called aplanospore. Germination of a spore starts under favorable conditions. A spore germinates by producing a germ tube that develops into a fluffy, well-branched, white aerial mycelium. Uh, Rhizopus growing on SDA medium, and you can see Rhizopus morphology in this picture. Rhizoid, stolon, sporangiophore, black sporangium, columella, and sporangiospore on the sporangium. Do you agree with the rest? Ten minutes. 10-minute rest. Okay? Chlamydospore is rare in Rhizopus stolonifer. They produce only in the old mycelia. At the time of chlamydospore formation, the major hypha become transversally septate. Some intercalary cells of this multicultural mycelium are surrounded by thick wall contain sufficient reserve food and represent chlamydospore. These are very resistant to unfavorable conditions such as zygospore. On return of the favorable condition, the chlamydospore germinate by producing fresh hypha. Sexual reproduction. Rhizopus reproduce sexually by the process of conjugation. Is the sun god better? Do you see the slide? I can't see it. Sexual reproduction of rhizopus shown in this slide. Two mating strain, plus and minus. There are compatible strain. Two compatible strain, conjugation, and Gametangia form male and female or plus and minus. After conjugation, produce young zoospore, and after germination, the zygospore formed poromycelium. And the sporangia form and arise from the zygospore and produce a planospore. I can't see the slide. Sexual and asexual reproduction in rhizopus shown in this slide. This is a sporangium and a sporangiophore. A sexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. In sexual reproduction, two mating type plus and minus conjugation, and the Gametangia with haploid nuclei form in two mating strains. After plasmogamy, young Sporangium formed and then the zygospore form. The zygospore is a Do you have my voice? Okay. I told that only three genera, Pylobulus, Pilaria, and Ataromyces, are included in Pylobulaceae, and all of them always found growing on dung of herbivorous animals. These fungi called Coprophylus fungi. Sporangia of all members contain dark-colored persistent walls. Many spores are present in a sporangium. Sporangiophores are large, elongate, and phototrophic, grow toward sunlight. Phototrophic, that means grow toward sunlight. At the base of the vegetative mycelium, some swollen structure called trophocyst found except in Pilaria. In Pylobulus, the sporangiophores are swollen. Its sporangia always shut off the sporangiophore. All members are heterothallic. Genus Pylobulus. Pylobulus is a Coprophylus fungus found on the dung of many herbivorous animals, especially on horse dung. The mycelium consists of short, coarse hypha, branched, aseptate, and multinucleate. The swollen parts of trophocyst appear yellow because of the presence of carotene. Importance of mucorales. Some species of Mucorales cause soft rot of sweet potato, strawberry, and many other fruits. Rhizopus is a common spoiling agent of bread. Some species used in the production of organic acids such as lactic acid, uh, succinic acid, citric acid, and fumaric acid. Many Oriental foods like tempeh stuff are prepared from species of Actinomycur and Rhizopus. Carotene compounds produced from species of Blackstella. Rhizopus stolonifer used in biotransformation of cortisone manufacture. Many species cause mucormycosis such as mucor and obsidia. Members of family Piptocephalidaceae of Mucorales occur parasitically on other fungi and primarily on the other Mucorales. Such fungi which occur on other fungi called mycoparasites. Do you have my voice? Okay, thanks. Mycoparasites are the fungi that occur on other fungi called mycoparasites. Some produce highly active antibiotic against several types of bacteria, for example, from obsidia. Order Entomopterales. As the name implies, this fungi often attack insects. Entomoptera musca infects and eventually kills houseflies. In flies, their bodies riddled by the fungus usually crawl into exposed situation. Zoopagales, parasites of fungi, nematodes, amoeb, and etc. And many taxa produce merosporangia. Merosporangia are sporangia that break up at maturity. Looking rather like the thallic artery conidia of some ascomycete and basidiomycete. Order Pyxelales, named after a mycologist called Pyx. Members of this order are atypical of the zygomycete, in that they This is the Is the sound clear? Okay, this is the last slide. Class Trichomysida. These classes contain 4 orders, 7 families, 52 genera, about 210 species. This eccentric group of fungi live almost exclusively attached to the lining of the guts of living arthropods. Trichomycids are common in herbivorous or detritivorous arthropods, but rare in produce species. A single species of trichomycid can usually inhabit several related host species. They often seem to be commensals, doing little or no harm to their host. Sometimes they may even be associated with faster growth of their host. At least one species, Smithhium morbosum, caused the death of mosquito larvae. The mice. Today, the end of the class, the sound got bad. Do you have my sound? Okay. There is much to be learning about the taxonomy and house range of this group. The lecture ended. Do you have any question? Miss Adnan, please explain to the student about the final exam. Thank you, Miss Adnan. Any question? Okay. See you soon. خدا حافظ.